Yeah. Actually, that was a strange one. It come up as an update on my phone, which then cut the video off, which is annoying. And that's probably me again being Grandpa Simpson and not realising that that would stop a video or whatever the hell went on. So anyway, trying to remember where I was in terms of with the hair products. Onto pomades in the 2010 to now. Um, Again, I'm gonna do more in-depth reviews and actually break down the different products that I've used in a later video. This is more, or it was originally gonna just be a part one, but I've had to do it as a part two, as an introduction and hairstyling tips and so on. So bear with me. So again, as I was mentioning in the previous video, you don't necessarily need to wash your hair every day, and I'm not even going to say that you need to use a conditioner either. It's more of a case of washing your hair and whatever product you have in, trying to get that out as best you can. Obviously, in terms of with myself, if I'm doing, say, a long day where it's work and gym, or just a long shift at work, or you've got other responsibilities, or you're going out after, obviously looking to use a product that's going to stay in the hair is fine, but there's going to have to be a point where you wash that out, because again, depending on the chemicals of the product that you use, the longer it sits in your hair, it can actually do damage to your scalp. For some people, create dandruff. For other people, even lose hair or thin the hair, and so on. It's all like negative things that can be avoided by obviously using less of a product, or less often, or even, in my opinion, mixing up what you use depending on what you're up to for the day. So in terms of actually like styling hair, or what I recommend is that these sort of kits that you get with various combs, different lengths and so on, half of them you're not ever going to use, but they don't cost a lot of money, and you can just order them from Amazon or even eBay. Amazon's probably easier to do, easier to access and find these, and they tend to be from China or similar countries. And the main thing you're looking for, and this isn't just on my hairstyle, this is for most hairstyles. Again, for some people they might not need to style their hair, but majority of people they will, and majority of people put something in their hair. But what you're looking for is a traditional gentleman's comb, which is a fine tooth comb at one end and then a slightly thicker one at the other. And I just remember either someone telling me many years ago, or reading somewhere from, in terms of when gentlemen used to style their hair for big events, probably even hundreds of years ago, depending on what kind of, obviously they didn't have a comb, but they had something similar, like a hairbrush or whatever. It was always considered that the finer the tooth of the comb, or the styling that you're using, the higher like grade or echelon event it was. So obviously when you look at I don't know, for like balls and banquets and so on, certain men and even women's hair was done in certain ways, to kind of, or even wigs, but again in different styles, used with different tools, to kind of facilitate what the prominence of the event was. So let's do a modern day comparison. So say if you was going to a banquet or a big event or an interview, keeping your hair in a very business like style with, say, maybe a thinner tooth comb would be ideal. Again, I'm not saying that's a be all and end all, but it gives a professional kind of businessman like approach. And again, not saying that that has to be done, but that's just something that I remember being told, and it kind of makes sense when you see movies and shows and so on. A guy in a business suit with their hair a certain way, facial hair a certain way. It's kind of like not going for the unkept look, just trying to be smart and kind of looking friendly and approachable, but at the same time serious and business like. But anyway, and then you've got the more like a modern day, like a thicker version, more versatile in terms of how it can style the hair, how it can give lift to the hair, depending again on the style that you have. And also, again, with most guys, they just towel dry their hair like I used to when I was younger. And sometimes when I can't be bothered, or if I just want to dry my hair quickly. But again, depending on the style, if you're looking to add more volume, you have to look into the use of a hairdryer. Now, I've tried doing it without, and it's never kind of the same. And again, going for like a pompadour look or higher, more volume to the hair, especially for someone if they've got, you know, thinning hair and they lack volume, that these things, like, despite this coming from a guy saying this, it's kind of important, because again, you're trying to take pride in your appearance, and you're trying to do a certain style, you know, that if you want to go for it, you need to do this, because again, you know, we've all been there trying different hairstyles, or the side part, or the ice gem look, you know, where you cut half through with this part of the hair and then all your hair goes that way, and so on. You know, you could go for a wild look hair where it's all wavy and so on at the sides. Again, there's no right or wrong with that. It's what, you know, what you want to try and what you can achieve. But again, given the experience of various hairstyles and various products, and again, some of this you can get online already, some of it you can't, or some of it's regurgitated information, it's not first-hand experience. I'm talking in terms of, from myself, trying to help people, trying to keep their hair healthy, trying to give them various different ways of different, even just the use of a different comb can create a completely different look. And then that's not even going into the actual hair product side, which again we'll get to when I finish this video. So again, as a recap, this is just a kind of part 2 introduction to my experience with hair products through the 90s, 2000s, 2010s till today. How it kind of evolved from gels, you know, into waxes, clays, pomades, fibres, and then later pomades, which kind of almost like a hybrid of the others anyway. I could even mention hairsprays and hair tonics and so on. They're all kind of, they've got their place, but again, to simplify it, they all kind of do the same thing. They style the hair, and again, people have their preference. Some people prefer, you know, to save money and go with a cheaper brand. Other people will go for a premium brand. It's more based on what you're trying to achieve, your own experience with hair products, and kind of, generally speaking, the look that you're trying to go for, and how you can make it easier, and then obviously the prevention of damage to the hair, the prevention of loss of hair. You know, even I'll add this one in again, using a hairdryer, obviously it can dry the hair and it can make it brittle if you're using too high a heat. So again, you tend to, you know, you don't want to be right in there all the time, you want to be further away, and you know, just towel drying the hair before using the hairdryer, not having the hairdryer on for like half hour and so on, like some women do. Again, not a sexist comment, it's just a statement, a factual one. It tends to be that the longer you spend meticulously using hair products and hair drying and bleaching and so on, you've got to pay something back, you know, in the long term, in terms of your hair health and the quality of your hair that you're left with on your head, if at all. Some people genetically, they're predisposed to losing hair and thinning hair, so I just thought I'd add some of these things in to try and prevent that for some people as best as you can. And again, we'll end on, in terms of supplementation and in terms of like what other things you can do. Again, a lot of this you can find online on YouTube, in terms of like hair promoting formulas. Again, they can be very mixed reviews, much like even with supplementation of, say, vitamin E, vitamin D, what's the other one? There's another vitamin A, I believe that's nails as well, but I think it does hair. You know, you can look into that if that's of a concern, but they're not going to be miracle drugs, you know, that is going to reverse years of hair abuse or mistreatment. So again, they're things to consider, hence why I've added this in as a last little result, or something that might help some people. But just don't hold your breath in terms of magic drugs and pills, for, you know, there's a reason some guys even have to have the procedure where they have fake hair put in, and then it's done in a clinical environment, and they grow hair out of the scalp. I don't know the details of that, but that just goes to prove that some people get so far along the line in terms of hair loss and destruction of their own hair that these are things that they have to look into, which I can imagine costs a lot of money as well. So yeah, we'll end that there, and then there's not really much more I can say in terms of this, so we'll move on to actually reviewing the hair product lines that I recommend, and ones I stick with, and ones that I think are, for most people, reliable, trustworthy, and won't destroy your hair. I might even also mention some that in the past I was skeptical about how good they were as a company and what kind of chemicals they were using, that I think were harsh on my hair, and again from friends of mine who've had bad experiences with certain companies. So again, unbiased, unbullshit review from myself on these, as always. We'll end that there.